Good afternoon. Welcome to another reading. We're looking today at someone who is no longer in your life or who you're in separation with and what they miss about you. This is likely to be someone you were romantically involved with, but it can also be a friend or a family member. And if romantic messages come through and that's not your situation, just ignore those specific messages. We have 4 groups to choose from today. I'm going to show you these options up close. So if you want to just take a moment to bring your person to mind, you can choose multiple groups if you have multiple people in mind, but you may want to choose just one to start with. So I'm going to show you the death card from each of these decks since I feel like you may be haunting this person a little bit, and that felt kind of fitting to me. So let's take a look at each of your choices now. For group 1, we have Golden Healer Quartz. And this is the death card from the Tarot of the Owls. For group 2, we have Malachite. And this is the death card from the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. For group 3, we have Blue Goldstone. And this is the death card from the Book of Shadows Tarot. For group 4, we have a Skeleton Key. And this is Transformation, which is the death card from the Fairy Tale Tarot. Okay, take your time choosing if you need to. The timestamps are always in the description box below. I am going to get started now, so meet me in your group when you're ready. Hi, group 1. You chose the Golden Healer Quartz. Welcome to your reading. So we're looking today at someone you are not currently in contact with and what they miss about you. So we'll look at any regrets that they're having when it comes to you, what haunts them about you or what they'll always remember, and what they hope for in the future. So let me do a quick shuffle and we'll get straight into it. Trying to find the right spot for that. Hopefully that works. All right, let's take a look. So, for group 1, what does their person miss most about them? So what do they miss most about you? Ten of Swords. The King of Wands. I feel like it goes there, but we'll switch it around if we need to. And we have the Hierophant. For some reason, I feel like I want to put it this way. There are a few things coming through. The first thing that I'm noticing is that I feel like you must have been either really good in a crisis, or when this person had a crisis, they were able to rely on you or come to you. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I don't think it matters which way these go, but I feel like this person, like, I think that you are this King of Wands and this person is even this lizard and also this Ten of Swords character here. So it feels like you were always available to help them, and you were always really kind about helping them. You always knew what to do when something was going wrong, or you knew how to comfort them or to calm them down. And I feel like this person may have had a lot of crises, or they were constantly having things go wrong, small or large. And I think that they are quite down in life. Like, life really gets to them, or they went through a period of time that was particularly challenging and you were there for them. So I could see this being, if they lost something, maybe they lost a job or they lost a person or somehow they lost in life and you were there at that time. Or as life's annoyances or problems piled up, you were there to sort of like pull the swords back out or remind them that it's not as bad as it feels. Like this is definitely, it's possible that this person could be quite dramatic. That's not for sure. But I do see some drama with this card is like, they may have even like invented crises, or like they created more chaos than there needed to be or something like that. Or it's just possible that like things constantly went wrong for them. And not only were you there to pick up the pieces and help them and comfort them, I think that you were very much like available, very present. If they called, you would answer, or you would call back very quickly. Like, I think that you were the person that they really relied on. And you provided quite a bit of like security and safety. But it's interesting in the way that you provided it, because I think that it's not just that you are like maybe a very grounded and like secure and safe person. Like, I think that they do miss those aspects of you, and you provided those aspects to them. You may or may not do that with other people. I don't know. But also you, along with this part of yourself, you also are very like, you were either very like inspired or inspirational, or you were really possibly like good with your words or the way that you guys communicated. So not only do they miss the ways that you held them down in a healthy, helpful way, and the ways that you were there for them and that you comforted them and supported them and helped them get through life's difficulties, whether they were manufactured or not, you also provided this like kind of more joyful side. So I'm seeing like with this King of Wands, you were quite playful. Like you could be serious and silly. You could be like funny and playful, and you were very maybe communicative. So what they might miss is your communication. They might miss talking to you in general, but also maybe talking to you as much as you guys would talk. So if you were in contact a lot, every day or every other day, or, if you talked all day long, maybe you texted, maybe you emailed, maybe you saw each other in person and you called, like they miss the communication for sure. They definitely miss talking to you, and not only talking to you and having you hear them, because I think that you probably listened quite well. You seem very focused on them. And I think that they miss that too. They miss your focus on them and your attention to them and your validation of their struggles. But they also miss like all the ways you communicated, the way that you were in the communication, not just the communication itself, but like the jokes you would make, the way you were like funny or kind or interesting or curious. They certainly miss your personality and the way it came through in your communication and like in the ways that you guys were together. So they really, really miss, they also really miss your individuality. I mean, the King of Wands is such an individual, so unique, one of a kind. And they absolutely miss the uniqueness of you, your one of a kindness, your specialness. And I think if this person told you you were special, that wasn't a lie. I think that they absolutely meant that, and that you probably even know that about yourself, because I would say that this group, even if you think you're like boring sometimes, I think you know that you are an individual and that you are unique and that you are a little different from the norm. And I would say that you probably like that about yourself. I also think that what they miss is like your authenticity, because I think that you were real with them. You were yourself with them, at least in ways that you may not be with other people. And even if you weren't your every part of yourself with them, some part of you was very much authentic when you were with them. And they absolutely miss that. I also feel that I think that their life might not be going very well right now. And things may not be going how they want them to go or how they expected them to go. It's very possible that they could be just hurt by whatever happened between you, and this pain is getting them down. But I also get the sense with, the 10 swords that it's more than that. That is probably a part of it. I would wager a guess that it is, but I think that other things are going wrong. So this could be like their job or their career or school is not going well. Their other relationships with like family, friends, or if they are dating or married or anything like that. Like, I don't know who this person is to you, but their other relationships could be going not well right now, their community, their hobbies, their health. I don't need to list everything, but I think that they particularly are missing you right now because of how much is not going well for them and how much they wish that you were still in their life, because not only did you help them so much when things were not going well and you were there for them and they could rely on you, but you also brought joy into their life and like light. And I think something that they really, really miss is how bright and light you were and how you brought so much into their day-to-day experience. And they, I'm getting the message that they may not have realized how good they had it with you until it was gone. And again, this does not have to be, this could be romantic or friendship or family. It could be anybody, but they're realizing now that you are not around how much life you brought into their life, how much like enthusiasm or joy or happiness or brightness or calm, and probably a combination of a lot of things, honestly, and creativity. You brought so much into their life, and they are realizing now, or they have been realizing for a while, what they lost, what you brought into their life, what gifts you brought, like how much fun it was to know you, how special you were and are. And they miss that lightness because I think that their experience right now is much darker than it was when they had you around. And I feel that a lot of things are going wrong for them. And, they're like, feels like they're bleeding out in some way. And I think they're also having to like possibly face their shadows or face things that they've been doing wrong because, I would say if you're not in communication, which, this is what this is all about, I would say that you either were the one to choose to end communication or take space or to separate in some way, or even if it was mutual or if they made the decision or if they did something maybe unforgivable or something like that, it still is paining them while you are opening back up to life. So you may have already been healing and finding new inspiration and like, you may be very like independent and you're doing well on your own. Or if this is very recent and you're feeling very like devastated, this is coming. But the thing is, look at this stark difference. Like this person is like at the end of their rope, they're hitting rock bottom. They are burdened by life, and not only burdened by it, but it is painful. They feel like this person may also have trouble like getting out of bed sometimes. Like they may have trouble showing up for the things that they need to show up for. They may be lacking enthusiasm and joy. And also I'm seeing like, even if you have seen them in the wild or heard about them, or you've seen pictures of them or something and they're smiling, I would suspect that that's not what's actually happening. Or if they are right now, that's going to change. And not that I want them to not be doing well, but they're not doing well. They are not doing well without you, I think specifically. And I think that this is a painful situation for them, not only losing you, but what they're dealing with in life is not going well for them. And yet you are standing on your own. You have possibly like companionship or help or support. You're seeing your future again and like the things that are important to you. It's like you're being filled with color again. You're looking healthier and happier, and like you're seeing the possibilities in life, and you're moving toward things that feel special and good and moving toward your goals. And you're sitting here on your throne, and you're becoming like a master of something. So that could be a master of yourself, a goal that you're undertaking, a master of your own healing. Like somehow you are coming out of this a lot brighter. And I think that this person may have brought you down, and you may have found yourself a lot weaker. Like you may have been in this position after whatever this relationship was, and you're coming over here to the King of Wands. And I think also, over here with the Hierophant card, like, so one thing can be that they saw your connection and your relationship, as long-term. And again, this doesn't have to be romantic. It's somebody, the other person involved here, your person, saw you as always being close, always being together, always knowing one another, moving forward in life on a similar path or side by side, or at least in contact with one another. Something that they're also really sad about is that this may no longer be the case, because I think that they are realizing that whatever has happened between the two of you may have ended the trajectory. Is that the word? The way that they saw things going, the way that they thought things were going. And you also may be sad about this. But I think like in what they're missing, it's also just bringing up their sadness about what was lost, what has changed, what they hoped for that may no longer be the case, or that they fear is no longer the case. And I think that they really saw like mutual support here, but I also get the sense that there may not have been mutual support. I mean, obviously you will know if that's the case or not, but with the way things look, it really looks to me like you gave so much and you were so present and so like focused and available and helpful. And I don't know if this person was ever capable of this. They may have always been living from this place, even if they looked healthier, if you know what I'm trying to say. Because I think it feels like some of these sorts have been here for a long time. And so I think that this person may have been always quite challenged and hurt by life, and that they had not yet done the healing from their past. Even if they had done some, I think it could be possible that part of the reason that there was a separation between you two is because you were starting to realize this person was unhealed, or they were acting from an unhealthy place. So even if like originally you thought that they had like done some healing and they were like wise in these ways, you may have just been starting to realize that wasn't true. And that either way, this person is very much harmed by past experiences, starting probably in childhood. I would not be obviously surprised if that was the case. And they've been like wounded and carrying around this pain while like pretending to be something else. And I think one thing also with you is that they were able to be more authentic with you too. And in that, they were also able to share some of their pain and painful experiences with you. And with that as well, I think that they also acted out with you because it was safe in some way to do that, whether it was really messed up that they did that or not. And so I think one thing that they also miss is their ability to be so real and so authentic with another person, and to be seen vulnerably and like for their pain, because I think that their pain honestly rules so much of their life. And like, you know, we can say that like pain rules a lot of aspects of a lot of our lives, you know? And, but I think that like, I think you get what I'm saying, but they really miss the potential in the way that they saw things going. And I think that this person may be facing the fact that hope is sort of being lost. So I wonder if it's been a little while since this separation, they had a lot more hope in the beginning, and they still had a lot of your energy in their energy field and in their like thoughts and feelings. And so I think you were a lot more present even when you weren't present. And I think that that is starting to now fade, or it will fade. And I think that that is really sad for them too. Yeah, I'm really feeling the emotions start to come in because, you know, we will certainly look at like what they regret, if anything, but I don't know whether or not this person is facing the truth of what they did, but I do know that they are really sad about this. They are really, really sad. And I will tell you that they really, really miss you. And that might not be in every moment of every day. It could be. But I think that it is a lot of the time. I think that you're still on their mind quite a lot. And I think in some way, for some reason, they see you as like very glowy. And so they either think you've like glowed up since them, or you are just living the best life ever. And, or they could just think that like they see you now for how bright and light you were, and they maybe weren't appreciating you. And now it's like, oh, and I don't know that they would appreciate you if they came back in. So this isn't me telling you to give them another chance. But what I am saying is, well, honestly, what I'm saying is that you are doing better than them. And if you're not right now, you will be pretty soon. And another thing that they really miss is your traditions. So, you know, the places that you ate, or the things that you cooked together, or the things you would do, the places you'd go, the things you had in common, inside jokes, the ways that you were with one another, and the traditions and rituals you had. They miss those things so much because they either don't exist with anyone else, or it was more special with you. And I do think it's possible that they've tried to recreate some of these traditions with someone else or with other people, and it's not the same. And that is another reason that they are missing you, because they're realizing the specialness of the connection that they got to have with you. And whether or not you're doing better without them, you know, there was something special to this connection. And whether or not it was special to you, it was special to them. I will tell you for sure, it was very, very, very special to them, even if they ruined it, even if they betrayed you, even if they lied, even if they did all these things wrong and you think, well, did they even like me, let alone love me? Like, they treated me like this, but despite their treatment of you, they loved you dearly. They still do. They miss you dearly. And I think that they will for a long time to come, and maybe in some ways forever if you don't reunite. And I don't necessarily feel that it is possible that they blame you for this. I think that it's possible that energy is kind of coming through of them still blaming you, still saying it's your fault somehow, at least to themselves, to make themselves feel better, because they're so wounded by life and they're so wounded by other people and things. And like, you know, I think that you were also a distraction for them from the harder parts of life. And sometimes like having joy with you or playing with you in some way, or like even imagining like how things were going to go, or like doing things together was a distraction from the heaviness. And so with that loss, they haven't been able to find a proper distraction that feels the same way. And it's possible that the distractions they are using are a lot less healthy than having had you in their life, lifting them up when you were around. And I think that even if things went very sour toward the end, or during the course of this, and like you did not feel like you were bright and light, you still somehow brought so much light into their experience, and so much love and joy. And like, I don't know, you're like interesting, you're bright, something about you is very light and fascinating and interesting and unique. And I do feel like for some reason I could just keep going and going, but let's get into the next part of your reading so that these don't get super long. I'm going to set these aside. Let's take a look at what they regret, if anything. 10 of Cups. The 8 of Wands. The Knight of Swords. There are regrets here, but I'll start by saying this. I don't think that they regret things the way you might hope that they would regret them. Like, I don't right away see them regretting the way that they hurt you, or regretting the things that I think they may regret causing you to leave, but if that's what happened. But I don't think that they necessarily are feeling enough about the regrets of how they harmed you. So I think that might come. But right now, they regret some way in which they communicated with you. So I don't know if this was at the end, something that they told you, the way that they told you, if they were the ones to choose to walk away. If they lied to you and you found out, there's something about the way that communication was toward the end that they do have some regret about. And they do think they could have done it differently or better, or they wish they hadn't done it at all, because I think that they were acting very impulsively in some way. So they regret their impulsiveness, because I think that they think if they hadn't done or said whatever they did or said, or in the way that they did, then you would still be having a connection and like happily ever after in some way. I think that they also consider quite a lot like trying to communicate with you now, or wondering if they should say something. They want to act very impulsively, and it's on their mind a lot because they want to like fix this and get back to what they imagine it would have been. And the thing is that I feel like it honestly wasn't that happy for a while, or happy at the end. I mean, it's possible that it only went bad at the very, very end and it was great up until then, but I don't think that it was. And so if that's the case, they are now like basically putting the experience you guys had on a pedestal, because whatever is happening in their life right now is not as good, or they're not enjoying it as much, or like basically the grass is always greener, and the grass is greener because they're remembering things either better than they were, or they're remembering the good things. And because they miss you, and they have a lot of emotion and feeling about this, and definitely a lot of thoughts. So, and they are thinking about you a lot, and they want to, I think sometimes they really, really want to move forward or move even backward to like how things used to be. I don't know that they have tried to communicate with you, or that they will. They certainly think about it a lot, and they just really, really regret how they communicated in some ways in the past, or some impulsive actions that they took, because they know that it separated you, and they want to fix that separation and like come back together in some way, or they miss being together in some way. But I don't think that they're ready to repair this, because they're not facing what they actually did. And while they do have regret around the way they did something, it's because you're now gone. It's not because they feel guilty. I don't feel guilt. I feel like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have done it that way. Like maybe I can fix it. Like maybe I can, it's this like very impulsive energy, and like this extreme focus of like, how can I manifest this back? How can I get it back? How can I fix it? And this, like, because they miss it so much, and they miss you so much, it's this like focus on like, how can I manifest this back? How can I fix it? And it is possible that for some of you, this person keeps contacting you, or keeps trying to contact you. And if that's the case, I wouldn't trust that right now, because they're not facing themselves or what they did, or like the truth of things. They're lost in fantasy, and they're also just moving too quickly, not quickly enough to think. And that's not the energy that you want. And if you think that there is any future where you will be connected to this person again, now is not the time, because they're not acting from a place of security and groundedness. They're acting from a place of need and want and lack and impulsiveness and speed, and like not thinking things through and not being actually prepared. And I definitely think that they feel like they messed it up. They regret messing it up. They know things could have been better, and in some way it's like it is their fault. But what is kind of annoying to me is like, I get the sense that this person did things to you over time, but they only feel responsible for something that happened at the end. And even with that, I think some of these people don't even feel fully responsible or to blame. They just wish they could do it differently to get a different response out of you, like kind of in a manipulative way, in an immature way. Like it's, they know that something they did ended this, but they don't even think they're to blame. And I think that they're so focused on like the end and like the good parts. They're not seeing the whole picture. They're not seeing other things that they did, other things that you may have told them about that you didn't like, or like they're not even seeing the ways that it wasn't like perfect. They're focused on the wrong thing. They're very, very focused, but it's on the wrong thing. they're too focused on one or two aspects of this or trying to get something back. And I think that if they came in with an apology right now, first of all, I don't think it would be the most sincere one in the world, but also I don't think it would encompass enough. It would only say, they would say they're sorry for like one or two things or something, like this small percentage of what actually happened. And that's not enough. It's not enough. And this isn't what you had with them. This is what they think that you had with them. But honestly, I think right now you're better off without them, and you're standing in your own power. And with that, your life is going to continue to improve. Like, sure, they're moving really fast, but can they actually catch up with you if you're going in a different direction? Because you're going this way and they're like speeding off this way to try to like fix it. And it's like, you're going to keep like kind of like missing one another unless they slow down and take a second and like actually look at themselves. I don't know that you will be on the same path again unless they can do serious work. Let's look at, I want to ask, what haunts them? What does haunt them or will haunt them? Or what will they always remember about you? So I kind of felt like, I guess I'm going to shuffle these again. I kind of felt like we would either get one or both of these answers. So I kind of coupled it into one. So let's see. The Three of Wands. The Two of Swords. The Three of Swords. And I dropped this one, the Knight of Wands. Well, I am really drawn to this Three of Swords. So what is really haunting them is their heartbreak over this. So whether or not they are taking any kind of responsibility or seeing things clearly at all, they are absolutely heartbroken. We went on for so long about what they missed about you. They miss so much about you. They miss everything about you. And there is no one that can replace you in their life. You are an irreplaceable person and experience of a person. And they're heartbroken. But I think that it's interesting because it's always three swords and the Three of Swords, right? But like, for some reason, I think that they're focused on several heartbreaks, not only you, but other people in their life, whether they have lost other partners, family members, friends, or other things in life. There are multiple things that they have carried heartbreak around and feelings of loss and grief. And you are the most recent one. And I think that there are more than 3 times that they have had big heartbreak, but there are like 3 or like several that stand out above the rest. So, and this could be even like people who have passed away and they have heartbreak around them. But you are one of the major heartbreaks that they have experienced up until now. And that does haunt them, absolutely, because not only are you not in their life and they miss you and they miss communicating with you and they miss all the things that we talked about, they also feel, again, there is some more like regret, but also grief. Like, it's like a graveyard. They have this little graveyard in their mind and in their energy field where they like, oh my gosh, I feel like crying. It's really sad to feel their energy because while I think that they do a lot wrong and they are perhaps very immature and this person needs to change and look at themselves, there is so much sadness about the things and the people that they have lost, and whether or not they take responsibility for any part of those losses. Like, they have gathered them together and it's like they, I see these graves in their mind and they are like, I'm afraid I'm gonna like my voice is gonna break because they're so sad. It's like they bring flowers to these graves. And I see your name like inscribed on this like middle grave. There's these three and there's this middle one. And it's like your name is there. And it's like, these other graves have like other things inscribed on them. Like, this is what happened. This is what I missed. And yours just has your name. And it has like the date of like when you first knew them, whether you were like a baby and this is your parent, or like if this was someone you met 3 years ago or something. Like, it has the start date and then it has like the hyphen and then there's nothing there because they're not ready for it to be over. And it's, while they have processed these other losses to a degree and they're still bringing flowers and they still miss these people or these things and they're still sad, yours is, they are unable to see it as a full loss. They still see potential there. And it haunts them because more and more time is going by. I see like the plants growing around these graves and like them being kind of untended, and this person's still bringing flowers and like little gifts and mementos. And like, I'm seeing things that maybe like they gave you or you gave them, and they're placing them there at that grave with the hope that somehow you will come back. So I will say that I'm sorry there's so much emotion in my voice, but they feel so much. And I don't think that this is all the time. I think that they have days where they're just playing and having fun and doing whatever and distracting themselves. And then there are days, hours, weeks where they come to you in their mind and they are remembering you and what they lost. And they are absolutely devastated by the loss of you on a level that they haven't been often in their life. And this person may have driven people away or may have lost people. And you are certainly one of the most important. I think that this person might easily walk away from some people, leaving people in the dust or like hurting them and not caring, but like they definitely care about you, and you 100% haunt them. You haunt their thoughts, their emotions and feelings, their imaginations, like their time alone. I think that they think about you quite a lot. And I think that a lot of things are still in shadow for them and they don't totally understand what happened and the role that they played in this. And I think that, again, they see you as having hurt them by leaving or hurt them by not communicating with them or whatever. I think that they feel a lot of pain about that, and their pain is the most important. And of course, our own pain is typically the most important, right? It's what we feel. So it's the loudest, but their pain is so loud, so constant, and so frequent that it is almost impossible for them to truly see how other people are in pain. And especially if they have caused or contributed to that pain, they will continue to focus on their own pain about the situation for a myriad of reasons. Maybe because they cannot see your pain because theirs is so loud and big, or because it could be a victim thing where they are tied to that role of victim and they have to see it as other people having hurt them in order for them to survive it. I don't know. I think what also haunts them. So for some people here, this person, again, is not doing well. I think there are times when they wonder if it's like worth continuing on. It's like, is it worth trying? Is it worth living? Is it worth like continuing to have relationships? Like, I think that they are, with this Two of Swords, struggling because they feel sort of unworthy, or they feel like life is too hard and they're just not sure they want to continue at times. And I wouldn't necessarily get really worried about that. It does feel like it's just more in their head, and there does feel like some depression here, but I think in some ways they are definitely still like acting the victim, and whether they can help it or not. And they miss when it was like the two of you and there was getting along and love and like, similarity. And now it's just them. And while they may be surrounded by other people, this loss of the relationship to you is a huge impact on their life, and I think their day-to-day life. And again, like, I think that there were things with you that they miss and they sort of regret, but it's like something else that sort of like haunts them is these like plans that they saw with you moving forward. So it's like we saw with the Hierophant, like this long-term potential to know each other forever, to be close forever, or in some way forever. And it haunts them that they are now looking at the future alone, you know, and they have to plan everything alone without you there. And they thought you were always going to be a part of the plan. And here comes the emotion again. I don't know if this person that you knew was really emotional or not, but I will tell you that they do have some emotions now. And these emotions are on the surface for them in some ways, or as soon as like they slow down, they notice like how they feel about this. But, you know, the fact that they have to plan for this future without you there is also really heartbreaking and really sad for them and really hard to face sometimes. And even when the future looks bright or there is other support there that's not you, it is really sad for them to not have you standing right here. And like, I even think with this outstretched wing on this owl, it's like, it makes me think that you were meant to be standing right here with their arm around you. And you're just gone, you know, you're just gone now. Oh, it's so sad. I'm not telling you to talk to this person just because they are sad. Okay. You have to do what's right for you. But I just can't help it. Sometimes the emotions come when I'm doing the reading, and there is still hope that somehow you will be standing there with them again, that somehow they could come in and offer you something or offer you the right thing or say the right thing. And, you know, if they prepare enough, if they armor up and they consider this and they bring in what you need to know or hear or like what you want, they think somehow that perhaps you will be willing to stand next to them once again. But the thing is, with this Knight of Wands, you know, we have the Knight of Swords and now we have the Knight of Wands, and the Swords is the fastest moving. Guess what's next fastest? Wands. So it's like, I think that they do think that if they plan this correctly, if they plan what to say, if they armor up, if they are ready for any possible like rejection or scenario that were to happen if they contacted you, they're still not in a place where they are being like methodical enough or thinking this through enough. They're still like trying to move too quickly, and they still just want to fix it without considering all of the things that caused this to become what it has become at this point. And so there's more energy here about what haunts them. But if we look at any information about what they will always remember about you, the first thing is that they don't want to just remember you. They want you here still in their life. They're not ready to let you go. I think in some ways they have started to accept that you might not come back, and yet they do not want to fully accept that. So in their imagination, they still sometimes think about the possibilities. They think about having you next to them once again. They think about like pulling this sword out and it no longer mattering because you're back in their life and they don't have to grieve it anymore, and they can just grieve these two swords instead of all three. I think that they imagine you coming back together, and they certainly want that. But so they don't want to think about what they will always remember, because they don't want you to be a memory. They want to have memories with you, but they want those memories to continue. They want to continue to plan things with you, to plan life things, to plan trips, to plan adventures, and to be able to talk to you and have access to communication with you. But with that said, they do have so many memories. You know, I think that I sensed that a little bit in the last cards that we had is they dwell on the happy memories. They think about the times that you were playful and that you were having fun and that you did fun things. Maybe you went somewhere together or all that stuff. But you are absolutely haunting them. You are a ghost, and you're not the only ghost. I don't think. I think that they have a few ghosts, but you're the one. Yeah, I said you were in the middle. Here they are sitting on the middle one. They're so focused on the ghost of you. Let's look at what they hope for between you now. We've already addressed some of that, but let's see if there's anything else. The Page of Pentacles. The Two of Cups. And the Seven of Wands. Well, they certainly want to come back together and be close to you once again. And again, whether or not this is romantic, they see you as someone very vital to their life, someone who really understands them, who knows them on a deep level, who gets them. And I think that they think they also get you, whether or not that is true. And what they hope for is reuniting, coming back together, and not only being able to talk to you again or be close to you again, but be close to you again, basically. So they want to come back to not only like how close you were before, but in a more peaceful way, in a more equal way, because I think that part of them can acknowledge that they maybe didn't give you as much as you gave them. And they want equality, and they also want, I think, to be sort of more loving and more protective and more caring. And with it being the cups, and the cups often being about emotions, they want to be like more emotionally on the same page, like having like emotional harmony and peace. I don't know if there was a lot of fighting, but also like emotional reciprocity. So I think that you took such good care of them, and they may have thought that they were doing the same thing, but I think that they will realize they were not taking as good of care, you know what I'm saying, as of you. And I think that they want that. They want it to feel more equal. They want you to feel safe. I'm not saying that they are capable of doing that, because as much as I have seen so far, I don't think they're capable of that, at least right now. They could be in the future. But I just think that right now they want this. They hope for it. I don't even know if they think they are ready. I don't think that they are ready. So actually, I think that even though this is what they hope for and want, I think they know they're not quite ready for that either. And that's part of why, even though they have wanted to rush in, they may not have. And I think that, with the Page of Pentacles, they're hoping that they will be able to slow down enough to see clearly, to figure out what it is that you were needing or wanting in relationship to them, and being able to offer that to you. And it does feel like it's so small right now, like it's not enough, and they know it's not enough, but they hope that they will be able to have enough to offer you at some point, and that if they spend enough time planning and thinking and being more methodical about it, that they'll be able to offer you something that is enough to start again. And they're certainly very hopeful about this. With the Seven of Wands, the first thing that I am thinking as I look at this card is like, they want your boundary to open up and let them back in. So like, I think that you have created such a strong boundary, or you've kept a boundary, or maybe even, it's possible they started with the boundary, but like, you're the one possibly keeping this up, and they want it lifted. They want like restrictions to be lifted, and for there to be light again. They want to see your light again and have it in front of them and with them again. And they want to not feel like they are imprisoned when it comes to you. And they hope that they can show you that they are changed, or that they are better in some way. But I also think that like, this still has such frantic energy and like quick energy, and like wanting to move very quickly and like fix it because they want you back, and like they want things to be back, and it's still kind of impulsive. So even though they like have these high hopes, I don't think they're ready for it. And in fact, like, I don't think they are ready for your light, especially because I have this sense that your light is only getting stronger and bigger and brighter, and it will burn them in some way. So either like, because you are becoming stronger within yourself and more confident and more sure of yourself and those kinds of things, like you could end up like saying things that would really hurt them in their vulnerable state, or you're just so bright and light that they would realize they don't fit in with that right now, because while you may have been closer to the same page before, you're not anymore, because you've been changing, you've been growing, you've been healing, whatever it is you've been doing. Again, you're moving in this direction and they're moving in another. And so it would sort of burn them because they can't face it. Because I also think that this person lives in the dark, and they are living in the dark more than they ever have now, I think. Or while they may have been worse off before and they moved forward, they have started to regress. So somehow they are living in the dark. I think this also means that they are living in like a sort of a shadowy place. So they are probably taking actions and doing things from a place that is unhealthy and emotionally immature. And I think that because they are so used to this dark and living in the dark, that the light would be too bright. It would almost be blinding for them if you came back together right now, because they're so used to the dark, to the night in a way, and you are the day and you are brightness and light. I think also they would feel very, very exposed now, because I think that you have really come to terms with the ways that this person has affected you and the things that they have done wrong, even the things that you may have done wrong. And you're becoming more like aware of these things, and they haven't been able to face them. And so having to face you at this stage would be really challenging for them, because I think that they would feel very vulnerable, very exposed in a way that does not look very good for them. And so, again, while I think what they hope for is to be connected to your light again, it would be sort of destructive for them or something, or like it would be too much for them to handle right now, and they would feel worse than they did before, because they're not actually ready to face the light. It's like they kind of like gear up and think that they're ready, but if they actually were to face the light, it wouldn't feel good, because I think that they would also be face to face with a lot of the harm that they've done, and they may not be ready to face that, because they're not in a place where they can be honest with themselves or face the truth, or where they can't. It would almost feel harmful to see how they've really helped people, because it would be so devastating to them in a way that I don't think that they could easily recover from right now. So I think that as much as they have these hopes, they're still not in this place, because your energy feels brilliant and theirs feels heavy and shadowy and dark and kind of like crumpled up. And while I could keep going, I think I'm probably going to be repetitive, and we've been going for a while. So I think I'm going to end it here. But group one, I am so grateful that you are here. Please keep just moving on up. And you know, if you connected to this reading, you might find some of my other readings helpful. Feel free to choose another group if you have another person in mind. And if you did find this reading helpful, I would love it if you would like the video. I'd love to hear from you if you feel like leaving a comment. And if not, that is fine. I will see you soon either way if you want to come back. So that's it for today. Okay, bye. Hi, group two. You chose this malachite. Welcome to your reading. I don't know where to put this. That is not going to be in the way. Is this okay? Okay. Sorry. We are looking today at someone you're not currently in contact with and what they miss about you. And we will also look at any regrets that they're having when it comes to you, what haunts them about you, or what they'll always remember, and what they hope for in the future with you. This can be a former partner or romantic connection. It can be a friend, or it could be a family member. Okay, that was a terrible shuffle, but I'm sure you don't mind. Let's do one more, and then we'll get straight into your reading. I am not very efficient today, but I'm going to try to be, okay? So group two, let's start with what your person misses the most about you, okay? The Queen of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the King of Wands. That's so interesting because group 1, I think, had the King of Wands in the first set as well. So one thing that they really miss about you, I think that you either were very direct with them or you were very truthful with them or in general. I think that you may have been a very honest person or a very direct person, and they miss receiving the truth from you, and they miss being around someone who was so truthful and who also was willing to say the things that they were thinking and feeling, where a lot of people will keep a lot inside. I do think that you keep some things inside, but you were willing to say, like, if they asked you a question, you would give them the honest answer. I don't think that you were like secretive per se, and they miss that truthfulness and that honesty and like knowing how you felt and thought about them. And if this was a romantic connection, they really miss like the passion between you, the attraction between you, the fire between you. And if it wasn't a romantic connection, you may have, I don't know if you were creative with one another, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you were like creating art or music or something together. Maybe you cooked together, or maybe you made each other laugh. Like there was something like creative or passionate around your like communication or your hobbies or the things that you did together. And they really miss that because it doesn't exist the same way with other people. Even if there is passion or creativity with other people, it was very unique with you. And I think it also felt like it made them feel at home in some way because your expression was similar. Either the way that you did things or the things that you liked were similar, or in some way you both sort of like, you may have been very, very different, but you were the same in some way, and they miss that because you don't find that sameness in that particular way with everybody every day. And again, if this is romantic or was romantic, they definitely thought you were so attractive, and they certainly miss looking at you and experiencing you. You also brought like a fire and a light to their life and their experience of life, and an excitement to their life. I definitely don't think that you would have perceived yourself as boring with this person. I mean, maybe in some ways, but you brought something to their life that was bright, that was interesting, that had movement in it. And this person of yours really misses that. They miss feeling connected in a way that they don't feel connected with other people. And I think that you even brought like a little bit of a sense of danger. So I don't know if you were just like rebellious or if you introduced them to things that they had been like too scared of before. I mean, this even could have been like they were afraid to eat some type of food and you were like, just try it. You might like it. And you helped open them up. And with this snake here, it's just making me think that like you were either a little rebellious or a little dangerous in some way. Like you broke them out of like maybe the way that they so strictly saw or did things before you. Yeah, and I think that, again, even more with this Ace of Wands, because like in the background, we see this mountain and this house and like this calm little river. And it's like things are so stable and calm. And then you have this hand, I feel like, on this like wand, this fiery wand. And you're like, I'm going to mix this up a little bit for you. It's like you brought fire into their life, passion into their life, interesting things, new knowledge. I really don't think for this group that this is probably someone that you have known your whole life, unless it is someone who like had life before you were born. So they are like older than you, because like somehow you came into this person's life and you brought things into this person's life. So I don't think that, I think that this person was in existence before you. Does that make sense? So I don't think that they've known you since their birth. I hope I'm making sense in that. I'm not being weird, but I don't know how else to explain that. I think, yeah, they may have been very like scared of things before you, or like tentative about things before you, or they were just like in their own little world and it was working fine. And then you introduce them to new things and they miss that because you spiced up their life in multiple ways, is what I'm getting. This was someone who was used to things being a certain way before. And I think that they even liked it that way because it felt stable. It felt secure. And they knew what they were getting. And then you, the individual, came in and changed things for them, and you changed their perspective and the way that they felt and the way that they saw things and the way they thought about things. Yeah, and like no matter how much you know them, they miss your beauty in some way. So even if this was family, I think they just miss looking at your face. They miss like, when you love people and you look at them, you just feel like so much love. And they miss looking at you. They miss seeing you and having your physical presence around them. And they miss like just the way that you looked. And they miss the way that your perspective, the way that you saw the world or saw other people or saw things. Like they miss being exposed to like your perspective of things. They miss how sure you were. This group really feels sure of yourselves, or at least you acted that way with this person. Like maybe you were very decisive. Maybe you kind of like decided whatever you guys were going to do. Like you were more of like the leader in the relationship. And they miss your like decisiveness, and you seem to just know things, and like you just would decide things, and like they liked that, and they miss that because I wonder if they feel a little bit like ungrounded now. And even though like this isn't necessarily the most grounding energy, it's like you provided direction. And now it's like they don't know which way to go. I think that they feel a little confused, or they miss going your way. Like maybe they always had like their structure and they've just gone back to their structure, but they miss going along with like the excitement of what you wanted or the places you were going to take them. I wonder if they think that, it was like hot and then became cold. And if you became cold, like maybe you just stopped talking to them, or when something happened between you, you just became like very cold or icy in their eyes. And I think that they miss it being warmer. They miss like the communication, the understanding between you. And I think also like they miss like the danger, like again, and you see the scorpion here. I don't know if you can see that. And then I don't know, it just feels like I don't know why it's danger, but you brought a level of like maybe impulsivity or like just the passion or whatever it was that you brought into their life, and like made them feel like even a little bit scared. But like they miss that. They miss it because I think that their life is like too calm without you, and that not that you were like chaotic or caused like turmoil, but like whatever you brought in brought life out of them. And I think that they feel a little bit lifeless without you. And I think that they feel like you've taken your attention and put it toward other people or other things. And they feel sad because they miss when your attention was so focused on them and when they were exciting to you. And I think that they feel perhaps that they are boring or not exciting, and that you made them feel that there was a level of excitement to life again. And I think that they were fine without it before you existed. They were like, nope, I don't need that kind of thing in my life. And then you came along and they were like, oh my gosh, like this is exciting and it's kind of scary. And sometimes it's like too much for me, but like, I like it. And I wonder if part of the reason you parted was also because, they felt like the excitement was too much for them or something. And you were like, fine, I'll take it somewhere else. And now they're like, no, I messed up. I miss it. They miss your personality. They miss the way that you think, the way that you saw things, the way that you expressed yourself. They miss your creativity. I think they maybe miss your sense of humor, the way that you communicated with them. I think like even if you have like a bit of like anger, or you're very like passionate in the way that you like talk or you debate or like things like that, they miss even that. I think that like even things that they may have complained about when you were around, and they tried to get you to change, now that you're not around, they actually miss those exact things. And they realized, like, I think that they may be realizing like some of this wasn't as big of a deal as they thought, or they were being like too strict in how things needed to be or too controlling. And like, I think that they tried to control your fire possibly. And they couldn't. And they are sad that they did that. But also, I don't think that your fire is out of control in any way. I think that they may be realizing that now. And while the fire may have felt like it was going to burn them at the time because they weren't used to it and they may have been scared, they're realizing now that it was always like their friend and it was good to them, and that your personality and the things that you offered were actually so positive, and they just miss who you were and what you brought into their life. Let's look at any regrets they're having when it comes to you, if they have any. The World. The Wheel of Fortune. And the Tower. I don't know, I want to put it here. Well, first of all, they regret letting you go. They regret, not doing something to keep you guys together or to do more to keep you together. I think that they really see you as so incredible. I think that they see you as very beautiful inside and out, as very talented, as interesting and curious, and like you are the spice of life, basically. And they regret either pushing you away or not appreciating you or letting you go. Whatever it is that happened, they do regret that. And they do regret things that happened in the end, because I think that they feel like they could have done a lot more to save this, to keep you in their life. They may have overreacted, or they now see what they could have done or should have done, or what you needed that they chose not to do. I think that maybe like it is possible that you are someone who gets more attention than this other person does. I think that you might be louder than them, or just more colorful, or people are just drawn to you, or you're more chatty, or in some way you're just more like, you get more attention, or you might be more social or more extroverted. And I wonder if part of them was like jealous about that, or like they didn't like that you were getting a lot of attention. If this was like romantic and they felt jealous that not only that like you got more attention than them, but that you were getting attention from other people, and they were worried that like they wouldn't be able to keep you. I think that you feel very like free to them, and that was kind of scary to them as well, because you could leave them. You could find someone infinitely more interesting to them. You could just go with the winds to like, now you are here and now you are there. And I think that that was scary for them, and they regret letting it scare them to the degree that it did, instead of appreciating those qualities about you. And at the same time, I'm not sure that if you came back together, they would now appreciate those qualities. I think they are having regrets around that. I don't know if they've completely gotten to the point where like they would suddenly be okay with the things that they were not okay with yet. I think they're still processing that stuff, and that while they do regret it, I would be cautious about if you are wanting to reconnect with this person. We can see if there's more energy around this, but there might be a level of fate with the Wheel of Fortune with that, and that things can bring you back together when it's time. But I also think that you might be meant to just focus more on yourself and the things that make you happy, and like following the winds of change and all of that stuff. Because if you stay, I think it does feel kind of like if you were reconnected with this person, they might hold you back, not because they want to or they mean to, but because they're still in a place where they're not quite open-minded enough in the way that they could be with you, where you could fully express yourself in all the ways that you need to, and that they would be like okay with it. I think that they are still probably in a place where like they might be realizing these things, and yet they are not ready to let you be as expansive as you are, if that makes sense. And I think that you're meant to right now really focus on your own expansiveness, your own joys and passions, because you are so in tune with those things, where this person is a little bit more buttoned up or closed off, I think. And so you're meant to be very expressive and do all the things that feel right to you. And I think that it is possible you could come back together with this person, because I'm not really feeling like they were awful to you or you to them. Like, I think it was like some differences, some misunderstandings, and some things that were just like triggers and things like that. But with that said, even though, you might not be meant to come together right now, they do have some regrets about these things. I think that they are seeing a lot of it pretty clearly. They just have not been able to internally change to the degree that you would need them to. And like, you might both find yourself getting closer to the same place where you can come back together again. Like, maybe you're able to come closer to the way they are, and they're able to come closer to the way you are, or like you're both able to be like more accepting or more similar in certain ways, and that will happen over time. But I wouldn't worry about that right now. And they still have some work to do. And I think they're very, very open actually to changing. And they are someone who is not unwilling to change or grow or learn. But I think that it does take them some time. They seem like a little bit of a slower individual when it comes to these things. And I think while they are prone to seeing things clearly, and not lying to themselves, I think that they can be very honest with themselves. That doesn't mean just because they understand something that they are now different. Do you see what I'm saying? But I think too, in some ways, they also regret going along with what you wanted too much sometimes because it was so exciting. And I think that they also feel like if they had been more themselves or more honest with you and like put their foot down on more things instead of just like maybe complaining about these things, that maybe the downfall wouldn't have happened. Like, with this tower, it feels like, yes, they built something with you, but they built it in the middle of like a huge tree branch, instead of like settled into like a stable spot or on the ground. It's like you were like, oh, let's build it right here. And they were like, oh, exciting. Okay. But they regret it. Whatever it is that they built with you, they regret not doing it a little bit closer to how they normally would do things, because they maybe wanted to impress you, or they wanted to try things your way. And they feel like if they had put more of their own energy in to start with, as they were building this foundation with you, and that it was more equally them and you, it could have been more stable and long lasting. And I think that they regret like giving up, themselves or their wants and things sometimes for you. And it may have gotten to the point in your relationship with this person where they were blaming you for things, or they were like, you're always this way, and like, we should have done it this way. But like, early on, they wish they had just been like kinder and more honest about these things. Like, they wanted it this way, you wanted it this way. How can we find it in the middle? And maybe it wouldn't have fallen apart. So they also have regrets about how they showed up early in the relationship, or in the relationship as a whole. Like, they definitely regret any fights you had, any turmoil and chaos that existed between you. And I don't think that's how they like to do things. And you might be someone who likes a little fighting, like, because it's kind of exciting, like not a real fight. I don't know. You might not, but like maybe they participated more because they thought you liked it. Something like that. Like, somehow they participated more than they wanted to in certain things, and then they resented you for those things, and then came the ending, and they feel like if they could go back to the beginning, they would have done some things differently, and maybe it wouldn't have happened. But I do think for some reason between you two, while there are certain very specific similarities, there are some big differences, maybe in the ways you express yourself or that you see and live life. And those differences were probably always going to be a problem until one or both of you is able to, like basically change or grow or learn things about yourself, or just like over time, you would naturally kind of be more similar. And so I think that like, no matter what, whether you made mistakes or they made mistakes or both, this was likely to probably happen, but they do have a lot of regrets around it because they think they could have controlled it if they did things differently in the beginning, or if they were able to just appreciate you as the wonderful, amazing, beautiful person that you are, instead of trying to like put limits on you or trying to like make you happy by doing the right things. Like, I think that like, while you may have showed up really authentically, I don't think that they fully did. And I think that they're realizing that too. And they regret that too. But they also just regret not like having this bigger, fuller appreciation for all that you are. Because I think that they're realizing now like, oh, you know, I really lost someone really cool, really exciting, really wonderful. And I think that you both think that there is a chance you can come back together. That's the energy here. Like, it doesn't feel like it was super contentious or like overly bad things happened. Like, I think that you both were able to get over like the fights or the things that happened. And that possibly you both see a place where you could come back together. And I don't always see this energy with like a no contact type of readings. Like, usually it's like, you should just leave it there. But I think that in time, it's very possible that you'll find like and then I see the snake again, find a better way to be where you are both able to appreciate the other, and like there's more like freedom and harmony, but also like balance and appreciation and authenticity and truth and luck and things being sort of on your side. I think that possibly you both, and maybe just you, have sort of like your own adventures that you need to take, your own experiences that you need to have, lessons to learn, things like that. And yeah, I think it's both of you, because I think that there are certain experiences you want to have, but this person has certain things that and this is like on the probably on the external, like things you want to do in the world or with other people. And this person needs to go more maybe internal and deal with like their own fears and the things that limit them and hold them back. And I think once you have both done those things, I really do think for some reason you might come back together, and it will be a lot easier than it was. Let's look at if anything haunts them, or what they will always remember about you, or what they do remember about you or think about you. The Devil. The Hanged Man. Well, Hanged Woman in this case. And the Ten of Wands. Okay, so one thing is, if this was romantic, I do think that they miss like the physical aspects of you guys being together. If you catch my drift, I think that that is something that they will always remember, because it was perhaps very unique or very passionate, or just different than they were used to, and like special in some way, or you really had chemistry and a connection. If this is not romantic, don't worry about that message. For some reason, I keep being drawn in this reading to like how they see you physically. Like they miss your beauty, or the way that you were, like the gestures you would make, like how affectionate you were, or like your hugs, or they just miss like seeing what you dressed like. There's something about the way that you physically were that they really, really miss. They miss seeing you. They miss being in your energy and seeing what you're like and the expressions you would make and all of that. And so they remember those things, and they think about those things. They think about the way you looked. They may be looking at pictures of you. They think about the way you felt to be around, your energy, your life, your passion. I think sometimes they might have felt bored, and then you walked in the door and they were like, yay, like now I'm going to have fun and I'm going to laugh, and this is going to be like an exciting night. But the way in which this haunts them is like, other people don't compare. Like, other people are not as lively or as exciting or as like dangerous in some way. And again, I don't think you're like toxic, but there's something about danger that keeps coming up, you know. But I think that if there were any substances involved with you or them or together, I think that they might worry about you. So you'll know whether or not that's a message for you. It's not going to be for everybody. But if you were drinking or using any other substances, whether or not you think that that's a problem, they might have felt that way just because of the way that they are. I'm not saying that you do have a problem, but that might be something that they worry about. And of course, again, you're going to know if that's your message or not, but that could be something that haunts them a little bit, like wondering if you're okay. What they remember most about you is your connection and how unique that felt, and like how special they felt in your presence and in getting attention from you. It's like you even just like looking at them gave them something that they remember. It was special. And you in particular are so special to them. So it's just because they see you as so different from other people. And like I think the attention that you gave this person was so like different from what they're used to getting from people. And so that's something that they, if you don't talk again, they will always think about and they will always remember, because it's not going to happen exactly like that for them with anybody else. I think another thing that haunts them is like, they wish they had been able to see things more from your perspective, but they just weren't capable of it, or they were too slow. I think there may have been times that you also wanted them to change, or you were like, why can't you just this? Why can't you just that? And what haunts them is like, they feel like if they could have just done that, because they were so tied to you, but they were also so tied to their perspective and their way of life and the way things had been, and like their fears around changing or what you could do to them, or like if they fully opened up to you, what could happen to them. I think that they were afraid that like they would be destroyed, or something would like ruin everything they've built for themselves. And so I think in a lot of ways they may have been very closed off to you, and again didn't like share with you as much as you shared with them. Like they may not have been as emotive, or you couldn't tell what they were thinking. And like while they loved that you would tell them what you were thinking and feeling, you may not have loved that like a lot of that felt very private from you for them. And so I think that haunts them a little bit, because they wish they had been more open and more willing to give in. And they were just so, I think that this person really has like fears and limitations that didn't allow them to open up to you fully or to the experience fully. And so then you went on your way and you took your fire with you. And even if it was hard to do, and even if there was like a financial loss for you, or you had to walk away from things, like you were willing to go your own way and take care of the things you needed to take care of if they weren't going to be more open or something like that. So I think that does haunt them, because again, there's this feeling of regret of like, if I had done things differently, we wouldn't have ended up here, and this person would still be like shining their light on me. But now I'm alone with my own thoughts, and like, the hanged man can be very delayed, very slow. And I think that you're a faster moving person, and this is a slower moving person, at least in certain ways in life. And that bothers them too, because they feel like they can't quite keep up with you, and they don't have the ability to do that. But I do think with this card, they are starting to spend more of that time reflecting and thinking through it and allowing their perspective to change, because I think that they do want to come back together, like I've said. So with that said, let's look at anything else they hope for between you. So what do they hope for between you now? Okay, the Ace of Cups. The Empress. And the Nine of Cups. Well, first things first, they hope you'll give them another chance at some point in the future. With the Ace of Cups, they hope for a reunion, an emotional bonding, a relationship to come back together and have a fresh new beginning. I think that they hope to come back in a way that is better suited to you, and that you would come back in a way better suited to them in some way. Not that you need to change or like your core needs to change in any way. But what they're hoping for is like that you both are still the people that you are, but that you can come together in a way that is more harmonious and balanced and like open to one another so that it can feel more comfortable and with a stronger foundation and less chaos, basically. And they hope to like have enough to offer you at some point, and they definitely want to make you an offer at some point, and they hope you'll be open to receiving when they do. This is someone who really like they want to see you become more equals and still be different and yet more similar in some ways, like maybe more similar in your values, or they hope that like they can be like maybe a little more adventurous and you can maybe be a little calmer, something like that. They definitely want to offer you things, you know? So they hope that if they make you offers, you will accept them and that you will be willing to like give back to them in return again, even though they may have messed it up. They are working on their emotional well-being. So I don't think that this person is necessarily emotionally immature. I think that they just might be a little bit more closed off, or they weren't really willing to share their emotional state in a healthy way. Like maybe the emotions that you saw of them were like to get annoyed or something like that. But this person is like trying to work on being more emotionally open and aware of their emotions and able to express and share their emotions. And I think that they're hoping that by doing that, you will be open to them and open to partnering with them in some way again, and like willing to share the bounty of like the beauty of you, like your personality and like all the things that you bring to the table. They really hope you'll be open to them at some point, and that there will be an easier way forward with like more calm and more magic, and like where there's still like passion, but that it's not like the basis of everything anymore. It's just like a wonderful quality, but that there's maybe more like mutual understanding and nurturing and like emotional openness and a little bit more calm. And not that like if you are a passionate person, you suddenly have to be like not passionate. It's just more like they're hoping that somehow when you can come back together and there's a level of calm that sort of always exists, even with passion. They hope for abundance and in relationship to you. So whatever this could possibly mean, like it could be material abundance, emotional abundance, as we talked about, but somehow they hope to be abundant with you, and they hope that you will share your abundance with them. And I don't think that that's money per se. It's just the abundance of who you are and your creations and the way that you are in the world. There's so much to love about you. That's what I just heard. There's so much to love about you. They love so much about you. And I think that they still have a strong love for you. You know, this person doesn't necessarily feel like overly emotional or like overly broken up about it. And that doesn't mean that they're not, but I just don't know that their emotions necessarily run that deep, or if they face them all yet. But I think they feel still very tied to you. They still love you quite a lot. They see a future together. I think that they just see this as hopefully like time apart where you both learn and grow, and then you will hopefully want to come back together. I think that that's really all that they want. I don't know if that's how you see things too, but I do think that this has potential still if you have related to this reading. And I think that it's possible that you could come back together when the time is right. I don't know when that time will be. And I think honestly, that's probably all I've got for you today, group 2. Feel free to choose another group if you would like, if you have another person in mind. And if you did find this reading helpful, I would love it if you would like the video. I'd also love to hear from you if you feel like leaving a comment. But either way, it is up to you, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye. Hi, group 3. You chose this glittery blue goldstone. We're looking today at someone that you're not currently in contact with and what they miss about you. We'll also look at any regrets they're having when it comes to you, if they have any. what haunts them about you or what they'll always remember, and what they hope for in the future when it comes to you. We'll get right into it. I just want to do a quick shuffle. Okay, what do they miss most about you? The Magician, the Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Chalices, which is, of course, the Six of Cups. Well, the first thing that I'm getting is they miss how special you made things with the Magician and the Six of Cups here. It looks like, if it was their birthday, for example, you may have made them feel really special on their birthday, or like even for things that weren't like holidays or special events, they may have just made things feel very special. They made small moments feel very special, or they did make holidays feel very special. For this group, for some reason, I do think, this could be possible for any group, but with this one, I think it's possible that you may have kids with this person. But it can be anyone. This doesn't have to be someone you were romantically involved with. But if that is the case, I think that they miss like being together as a family. But this could also be like if you had friends or family that were like the same. They miss like being together as a family in that way as well. They miss like being with you, with other people. I think that with this Magician and also just this energy I'm getting overall, like you're very capable. I think that you do a lot for yourself and other people, that you have a lot of talents and skills, that you are very capable of like taking care of things, and like you just know a lot and you do a lot. And like whether you are tired or not, I think that you get a lot done. And I think that they just really miss like that energy and being in that energy and around it because it was helpful for them as well, but also just because they really admired it in you. You may be very independent and they really liked that about you as well. But with the, some of this energy we already have gotten and the Six of Pentacles, like I think that you are very giving and very generous, especially with the people that you love and care about. And of course, they miss that generosity. Who wouldn't miss that? And you're very loving. I think like even in non-traditional ways, like you might give your love by giving people gifts or making moments special. Like you may or may not be an affectionate person, but I think that you just make people feel loved by the actions that you take, and you show love in your actions. And I think they felt very loved by you, whether or not they appreciated it at the time. If it was romantic, I think that they miss your body. I think that they miss the way you looked, how attractive you were, how attracted they were to you, any chemistry you may have had in that area. They may have really liked the way that you dressed and just presented yourself in the world and the way that you carried yourself. You may be very like professional, or you're just, the way you walk in the world is like, people kind of like respect you or they admire you, or you're very like acceptable by society in like the way that you look or the way that you carry yourself or the way you are socially. And they miss being basically like attached in some way to someone with those qualities, because I think it made them feel like they looked good as well, because being seen with you and the way that you were was something that they really enjoyed. And like, they may not have always had that with people they were close to. And so they really liked being in the world with you and being seen with you and having you be seen with them. Yeah, I think that for some reason you seem really like put together, or like you're always like very clean. Like your hair always looks really good, or your clothes are always really clean. And like whether or not you think that about yourself, I think maybe other people have told you that. Like you dress well, or you come across as very like put together or stylish or clean for some reason. You're very clean, or you look that way. You may be very just like kind of respectful of other people. Like you're not picking fights. You're not like um, acting crazy in public, like something about the way that you are in public, they miss that. And I don't know if it's because they're around people who do act crazy in public and they're like, well, I really miss being around someone that I felt respect for in the public eye. You definitely seem to have like, you either are a good parent or they see you as a good parent, or you have like good parenty qualities if you don't have kids or pets or like people you take care of. Like you seem like you would be a good parent basically. And the way that I'm seeing that come through is like you are responsible, dependable, trustworthy, kind, patient. Like you have these qualities that you see in people who are perceived as good parents, whether or not you are that. And they may have felt like they could like sort of be like their kid self with you and be accepted. I think that's only for some people. But I think even though you are like responsible and you are very much adult and you are very mature, you also have this side to you that is like joyful and playful and sweet and funny and like cute and like open to just having fun. Like you get things done. You're very good at things. You're good at getting things done. You're organized. And you are very adult, but at the same time, like you're not just serious all the time. Like you can laugh, you can joke around, you are sweet and you are silly. And like, again, I think you make things feel very special. And so there's this duality with you that they really loved as well. And I think everything that they loved about you is something that they now miss about you. They felt really safe with you. Very like stable, more grounded. They felt safer around you and having you around because I don't know if you were protective of them or if you just, your energy is very safe feeling to be around, or because you are so like responsible in certain ways, or you take care of things, or like when you have relationships with others, you are very helpful to them. All of these things are things that they miss because they don't get to be around it anymore, or they lost it. I can't tell right now if which one of you decided to part ways or like why you parted ways. I wonder if for some of you, because it kind of feels like for some people it's like divorce energy. It doesn't have to be, but I wonder if because it feels that way, this person was someone you did know for a long time, or if you didn't know them for a long time, all of the stuff is true. But I wonder if this other person sort of didn't appreciate all that you were giving and you maybe got tired of it, or they didn't appreciate it, but now that you are not around for them in the same way anymore, they wish they had appreciated it more because they are realizing what is gone and what they've lost. And this could have been someone too that like wanted to like have more like wild in their life. Like maybe they were leaning more toward other people, or like if this was romantic, they like, you suspected they were like cheating on you or talking to other people. And if it wasn't romantic, like they weren't spending as much time with you, or they weren't giving back to you, and they were like focusing more on other things or other people. And you got kind of sick of it because it was like, okay, well, I'm showing up exactly the same way. I'm giving all these things. I'm, continuing to be the same person in this relationship, and you're not. I wonder if there was an immaturity with this other person, or if they were like too childlike and they weren't becoming as much of an adult as you were. That is possible as well, because that's something that I'm seeing here. I think they miss how like strong you were, like how strong your values and beliefs were or became, or like, how mature you could be, because even if they weren't mature, I think that, your maturity was really helpful in every situation, and they miss having fun with you. I think that this person has been quite nostalgic about the good times and also about the possibilities of what would have happened if you had remained together or in contact. And, so there's this nostalgic, sentimental feeling coming through. And I wonder if this is someone that you haven't talked to in a while. Like either you haven't talked to them in a while, or for the last while of your connection to one another, there was already some distance being created, because it doesn't feel super emotional to me. I mean, that could just be the current energy, but I wonder if things just kind of like faded away, like it just didn't make sense anymore, or if you had just gotten kind of tired about the way things were going for a long time, or if it's been a long time since you were connected. And because I also feel like you're kind of fine on your own, and that like you at least look like you're fine on your own. Like people would perceive you as being fine. But I think that they miss like being connected. And so now that you're not and you're like kind of fine on your own, they miss when like they were important to you, because I don't think they're important to you anymore. And that what is important to you now is like your own dreams, your career, possibly like your own hobbies and talents and interests, and you yourself. I think like whatever you're doing out in the world day to day, or like with yourself day to day, has become more vital and more important. And like you're seeing your own importance. Like I'm not saying that you felt like worthless or anything with this person, but like now that they're not in the picture as much or at all, is that like you're now seeing how great you are. You're seeing your own importance, your own worth. You're like kind of like, it's not even like you needed to pick up the pieces, because I don't think this person even like destroyed you at all, like, or like brought down your light. You just kind of got like tired of things, I think. And now you're like, oh, well, I'm going to go back to like being amazing in the world, because I am. And like someone else or other people will appreciate it, and other people are appreciating it, because like, I don't know, I think you seem pretty great based on these cards. Like you're someone anyone would be lucky to have in their life. For some of you, I think that you definitely took care of this person to a degree. Not that you regret now, but you're like, I really didn't need to do that. Like, I think that for some of you, this person was like maybe kind of a deadbeat a little bit, or like they were kind of lazy, or they just didn't accomplish much, or they didn't put in a lot of effort, something like that. And so I think that like they just, I don't even know if they regret it. I mean, we'll look at regrets next, but like, I think they miss how much you did for them, whether or not they would ever appreciate it ever again. They miss like being taken care of in the ways that you took care of them. And I kind of feel your energy being like, you know, like rolling your eyes a little bit, because it's like, well, okay, like if you liked what I did for you, you should have done it back or been more appreciative. Like it's something like that. Like they miss these things about you, but I also kind of feel like you're like, so what? That's sort of what's coming through. And I also feel like your life is only better without them. So let's see if they do regret anything. The Knave of Chalices. You know, maybe we'll get more information and I'll like your person better, but I don't know. I'm just kind of like over your person a little bit. So I think that you're over them a little bit. So it's like, I don't even care what they think, you know, but let's see. Judgment. 9 of Pentacles. So it's weird. Okay, I am getting some regrets, and I'm going to tell you what they are. But at the same time, I feel like the regret isn't that strong. So, okay, one thing is I think that they might like tell you they have regrets, and their regrets would make sense. And you're like, of course, you did do those things. Like, I'm not surprised you regret them, but like, it's not actually real. They're like telling you what you want to hear, or like, so deep down inside them, they do have these regrets, but it feels like it's like so internal, and then like so much is around this regret that like they're not feeling the regret a lot of the time. I don't know if this makes sense, but I don't feel like super regretful energy, and yet I am seeing regrets. So let's look. You know, with this Knight of Cups, I kind of feel like they regret like how their ego got in the way of things, or how like they were so focused on themselves to like a degree where they were sort of selfish, and you were doing all these things, and like not only were you doing all these things for them and they maybe weren't reciprocating, but you were continuing to just like grow as a person and be like wonderful in the world, and they were just like so focused on themselves in a way that like, you know, some of you may have dealt with someone who was like kind of a narcissist or something like that, or they were just like selfish and childish and immature, or they were so like focused on themselves and their wants and needs and their like dreams and illusions that like you were living in the real world and they weren't. And like maybe they kept giving to themselves in ways that you would hope that they would give to you. Like maybe you were doing all these things for them. Like maybe you were making them things and giving them things and like showing up for them, and they were like buying themselves gifts, like instead of like giving anything back to you, all their giving energy was like straight to themselves. They may also have like seen themselves as better than they are. Like they had it in their mind that they were giving equally, or they were like a better partner or friend or whatever than they were. And they may regret believing that because they can now see like how much you gave and that they didn't give back. I think maybe I already said this. I don't think this person has necessarily changed. I don't even think you want to like have this person back in your life. I don't get that energy. Like I think you're fine on your own, but like just because this person might have like some regrets, I don't even think they're that like real. Does that make sense? And I think you're just kind of like going off in your life doing your own thing, but like I think that they also regret like making you wait on them so much. Like they may have just been like so self-important that they like would keep you waiting or like not get back to you, or like maybe you kept like hoping that they were like going to get off the couch and do something with their day and they just never would. It's like you're constantly standing here like hoping for the best, like hoping that like this is not a traditional Nine of Pentacles, FYI, but like you seem to be just like waiting and like hoping against hope that like they're going to do what they said they were going to do, or they're going to show up, or they're going to give in return. Like whatever you waited for them to do, they do have some regrets about, because they know that they could have done differently or done better. I don't think that they would even do it differently now, even though they know this, but again, like, it's just like, I don't necessarily feel that they're like super in regret, but I think that they know what they did wrong to a degree. And like, you would have been perfectly fine on your own. You were just like nice enough to share. You were like, okay, like I'll also make dinner for you. I will also like include you in this thing. Like I'm good at these things already. Why don't you join me? And it was like, they just took advantage of you, I think, in a lot of ways. I do think a little bit they, maybe wish they had like adored you more or spent more time paying attention to you instead of themselves and their own interests and things. Like I think that there's a little bit of regret around like not seeing how wonderful you were in the moment, or like treating you as such. But I really don't think that they like were able to do that, even if they think now that they should have. Yeah, I definitely think like this person you were dealing with was either like not very humble, like very full of themselves, or like overly confident in a way that didn't make sense, or very self-focused and selfish and immature. Or like also, I do get substances a lot in these readings for some reason, but it is possible that they were on substances of some kind that were keeping them like in that limited place where they were like overly focused on themselves, and like, and again, this feeling of like not being grounded in reality. So like, this feels like they are kind of like lost in imagination, or like they're not growing or changing as a person because they're so constantly relying on something that changes their perception and their reality. And so they may have some regrets about how like much they indulged, which took them away from like caring about you. But I also, for some reason, think they're still doing it. And, if you were dealing with like a narcissist type of person, you probably got love bombed, which, the Knight of Cups sometimes does, but the thing is, if they did that, it was to draw you in and like get your attention and all these things, but it comes back to their selfishness and their need to have all this like attention and validation and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if this group experienced some love bombing in the beginning. But honestly, like, I kind of feel like you're bored with this person. Like, I don't think they were that exciting. Like, maybe they were in the beginning, but I think you got kind of bored with them and like their antics and like, or their lack of antics, honestly, like their lack of ambition or motivation or inspiration or like ability to give in any true way. Like we did this reading to find out what they miss about you, but honestly, I just feel like you don't miss them, or like, you're not going to miss them because they're kind of like not that great. And like, I don't know how capable they are of like having strong emotions around another person, because like, yeah, they miss things about you. They're like, oh, I wish I still had that stuff. But like, there's this like disconnect where I don't feel like an emotional connection really. Like, they may be an emotional person. But I don't know, there's this disconnect here where they're not like living in reality with the rest of us, or like with you basically in your reality. I mean, I guess probably all of our realities are a little bit different, but I don't feel like this person cares a lot. And like, I don't say that to hurt your feelings if you do care, but I just think that they care about themselves to a degree where like they don't have a lot to give to any other person. And like, if you're in a situation where like you were dating them or married to them or something, it was romantic, and now they are with someone else, and like maybe there's a little bit of like, like, oh, maybe this person's better than me, or like maybe they can actually give to that person or something. Like, no, this person is I think incapable of like being different, at least at this time. And so if what I'm saying is correct for you, like you were romantically involved and now they're romantically involved with someone else, if you don't already feel bad for that other person, I would maybe feel bad for the other person, because that other person's getting the same version of them. They haven't changed, and they don't seem to really care a whole lot about how they affect other people. Like, they are kind of a taker, but it's weird because like, I don't feel like a lot of like, I do feel some manipulation and things like that, but it doesn't feel like as intense as some situations are. So I wonder if you just got tired of the crap. Or at this point, you're tired of their crap, even if you were more emotionally involved in the past. So do they have regrets? Sort of, but like it still centers around them, and like they're kind of selfish. And so, you know, I'm not very interested in them. Like, not to like make it seem like you shouldn't be interested in what's happening. Obviously, if you're watching this reading and it's vibing for you, you have a little bit of pull or like curiosity about what they're up to. But like, I don't know, like, I feel like there's going to be way more interesting people in your life than this person, because like, what do they even have that's very interesting? Nothing. So let's see if anything does haunt them. I kind of feel like, well, let's just see. Okay, let's see what comes out. But what haunts them, or what will they always remember about you? The Chariot. The Two of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, and I guess that's it. Okay. So for some reason with the Chariot, I'm thinking about their younger years. So it could be childhood, but I kind of feel like when they were like an older kid, or like a teenager, or like even like young adulthood, if they're older than that, it feels like what haunts them is like the fact that like their youth is gone in some way, or like some of their younger years are gone. Like, people maybe that they felt connected to when they were younger are no longer in their life. And I think because this person probably has a hard time keeping people around because of their selfishness and other things. And so they may miss like the old days when like things felt easier, and like you didn't have to be like a good person to keep friends or like people in your life. And so I think that what haunts them a little bit is that like life doesn't feel as like easy, and that like, you know, they have to go to more effort now, and they miss like the ease, and like also being taken care of possibly in like ways that like now they have to do themselves, or like they expect other people in their life to do, and people are starting to resent that because they're old enough to take care of themselves. So it's not about you per se, but like what sticks with them. And I think possibly they saw in you a quality that they saw in like a parent or a caretaker, or even a friend's parent from when they were younger. And like, so that could also be like haunting for them, because they in some way thought that they found something that they had lost or didn't exist anymore. And they were like, yay, now I have this again. And then it didn't work out, because like, obviously you're not going to like parent an adult for the rest of your life, or it got old because of all the other things that happened. And so it like haunts them a little bit that they lost that and that they couldn't just like keep it by doing nothing. And like, I don't think that like they would be ready to like put in the work. And also, I don't think that you want them to anymore, but like the fact that like they can't just easily have people like taking care of them like that is something that I think bothers them. And what they will always remember about you is not only how nurturing you were, how patient and calm you were, like all the things you did for them, possibly even your cooking or like whatever else you did to create like a good time. They definitely will remember those things as they think of you, because even if this person uses people and kind of treats everybody the same, there are specific things about you in particular, maybe because of like how long you knew each other or how special you were or like whatever it is, because you give in a way that not everyone gives. You are capable of like more than a lot of people are capable of. And like, I think you were really patient with them even when they didn't really deserve it anymore. And you might just have kind of like a calm demeanor. Like, even if you don't feel internally calm, I think other people like see you as pretty calm and like, yeah, put together and like you have it together. I think they see you that way, even if you don't feel that way. And so this person will always remember like how together it seemed like you had it. And like they got to like experience that for a while. And like that was really comforting for them. And it might have even, not that you caused them to regress to like a child, but like they felt safe sort of being a child with you because you made a safe space. And so, they would have probably been a child no matter what, right? But like, what they will remember about you is the safety they felt in like letting that part of themselves out, and how safe they felt with you, how stable they felt, how like everything felt a little bit easier when you were around. You definitely seemed to have made their life easier and simpler. And, in as much of the capacity that they had to love, I think that they did absolutely love you and still do. Like, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Like, I think even if you don't talk to this person for the next 20 years or like, for the rest of your life or whatever, like they still have the same feelings toward you. Like, by losing you, they don't think differently about you. They don't feel differently about you. Like, I think that they still like will always see the good in you. And, whether or not they really have a lot of regrets or emotions around this person like appreciates things about you. And I think that they may see you as attractive, but they also just like see a lot of your qualities as like either attractive or they just like those qualities. And, I think that they were hoping you would just take care of them for the rest of their life. But they definitely don't worry about you, because like, I don't think anyone needs to worry about you. Like, you might worry about yourself, but I think you have it more together than a lot of people, whether you realize it or not. And I think you live a pretty healthy life, and you may even find yourself taking care of people a lot, but they definitely like, they miss like, being in this car with you basically. They miss like being together, and having you like, at the driver's wheel in some way. They are always going to remember good things about you. I don't think this is someone who hates you, even if they acted like it, or like sometimes they have flare-ups of like anger about what happened. But I don't think they hate you. I think that they still see you as sort of like angelic or like giving or caring or kind. And like, I think they're always going to see you in their mind's eye sort of the same way. Partly because you're so consistent and reliable that like, even if you feel like you flipped out with them or something, like the image in their mind's eye, again, is like a pretty consistent, stable, reliable person. So like, even if you don't relate to feeling that way all the time, I think they see you that way, especially when they're not around you. And this person may have like picked at you and created reactions in you by like messing with you or doing things wrong or whatever. Like, you may feel like you were not calm and stable with them all the time, but I think they see you that way, and they may even know that they messed with you at times to get reactions in order to make themselves feel less bad for the way they were. But I think that they know that without someone causing reactions in you, you're actually pretty calm. Something else they will remember about you is like how many roles you filled and like how many things you were capable of. Like, I think that they see you as so intelligent and so smart and wise and capable and calm, and like, you don't necessarily get flustered very easily, and you are able to accomplish a lot, and like, you may be very organized, and you know how to do so many things, I think, or like, it just seems like they see you as very like smart and like very capable. And that's what they think when they think about you. And again, it's like they see you as being able to do so many things, and like you're capable of so much, but like you always have this like part of you that is very consistent and stable. And so they see you as like so multifaceted, and yet you are such a reliable individual because of like who you are. And like, even when you show up in different ways, there's this part of you that is always like the same. And it's such a like grounded and comfortable part. And I think that they think that you are capable of anything. Like, I know I've said capable a lot, but like, you have the potential to do anything you want, be anything you want, learn anything, that you could have anyone or anything in your life that you want. And that like the world is your oyster, and you will always have choices. And that like, you know, you will always, always have the potential for anything you could possibly want. And that like, literally, you could do anything, you could have anything. And while they may act that way, like they may act like they could have the world, they don't actually believe that. There's an insecurity within them, which is like part of the problem. And you may also feel insecure, but I think that they see you as so secure, especially in comparison to them. And like, again, I feel like you might be like fighting this image they have of you, but like, they have this whole time have seen you as stable and mature and responsible and all of these things. And I think that they really miss like having that energy in their life, but they're also the type of person I think that can like move on and do the next thing, because they're not, as attached to things as like a normal person. What do they hope for, moving forward relating to you? Queen of Wands, Knave of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. It is weird because I kind of felt like they didn't really care what happens, but I think what they, you know, I want to say in their heart of hearts, but I don't feel like they really have a very active heart. But in their heart of hearts, they do see you being together again in some way, whether that is the same as it was or different. Like if you dated them, they may want to date again, or they may just want to be friends, but like somehow I do see them kind of like wanting you to be in their life. And I don't think that they necessarily wanted separation at any point. Or they may have done something to cause the separation. I don't know, but I think that they see you easily forgiving them and just like, being your normal happy self with them again, or like they see like going back to like the days where it was more exciting, or if they did love bomb you, like the love bombing days. I think that they hope that you will see them as like more capable themselves or more mature. I don't know that they're going to, I don't think they're going to get more mature. I think they're always gonna be a child, but like, they hope that you will see them as an adult, or like you will have seen them grow in some way, or you will just love things about them so much that you'll forgive them for the past and just like move on happily. And like, you know, I think that they also hope that like, if they get their act together in some way, you will see them more positively and you'd be willing to be in their life again. Or like if they do the right thing or they say the right thing, you will be open to this again. And I think that they hope for like, you know, it's weird because like they kind of hope for like a more mutual, I don't know, benefit or mutual reciprocity or something. But like, I don't think that they're able to give it. I think that it would sort of be a show, but that they hope that like, even if you see through it, you'd be willing to sort of let them be acceptable to you again. Like they would get to be like sort of important enough to be in your life that like you would still give to them in some ways, even if it's not the same way. I don't think that they hope for things to be back to what they were. I don't think that they think that that's going to happen, but I think that they hope like somehow you'll allow them back in. And like, I do think, again, if it's romantic, they definitely find you very attractive, and they like being seen with you in the world. And even if you're not together, they still want to be seen with you in the world. And like, I think that they like your energy and like being around it because it makes them feel more important. And I think they do still want that like parenty energy from you. I think that they like feeling like you care enough about them that you would like sort of parent them. And so I see this in the Queen of Wands too, where it's like, uh-oh, let me not touch the fire. Like they're like purposely doing things for you to be like, stop, let me take care of you. You shouldn't do that. Like, it's like they want to get back to a place where they can like sort of like be a child you take care of, and they can like, oops, and you're like, oh, I don't know what the words are for that, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. It's like they want you to take care of them, or like they want to be kind of like silly and playful and do whatever. And it's like you're going to make sure that they don't hurt themselves. And I think that they are very aware that they are a child or a teenager to your adult, and that they hope that you're just like going to be okay with that, or like, because they see you as this queen. And not only are you a queen and like an adult to their knight, but you are, and so you're royal and magical and like amazing, but also you know how to do so many things and you're so good at so many things. And like, they would be like blessed to be in your presence, and like they're going to act probably fine either way. But, I think that they may act more important than you, but they know they're not. I think they see so much value in you, and it's not that they feel like they don't have value. I think that they do think that they have value, but like, I think for some reason they either know that you are like capable in all these ways that they are not, but they also for some reason seem to think that like a queen and a knight are the same thing, or they're on the same level. They don't realize like a queen and a king are more on the same level. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like you're a woman and they're a man. You might be. But they seem to think like it doesn't matter what level they're at. Like they should get to be taken care of by you and be in your life. And so they hope that like they'll get to be like that somehow for you again. But it's just like, it's like kind of silly, because like, why would you want another child in your life that isn't an actual child? And honestly, I don't think that I have much more to say, because I don't know. I don't really think you should give them another chance. I for some reason think for some of you, this person is a little bit in your life, but like there's a distance. Like maybe you see them at work, or you have kids together or something like that. But I would be careful with wasting your time, because you seem incredible. And I think your time should go toward the things that are also incredible. So group 3, I hope this was helpful to you. And if you have another person in mind, you can always choose another group. If you did find this reading helpful, please consider liking the video or commenting. I'd love to hear from you if you feel like leaving a comment. But anyway, I hope to see you soon. And that's it. Okay, bye. Hi, group 4. You chose the skeleton key. Welcome to your reading. Trying to figure out where to put this. Can you see that? Okay. We're looking today at someone you're not currently in contact with. And we're going to look at what they miss about you, what they regret, if they have any regrets when it comes to you. We will look at what haunts them about you, or what they'll always remember. And finally, what they hope for with you in the future. So group 4, what does your person miss about you? the Eight of Cups, the Wheel, and Innocence, which is the Fool. Well, the first thing that I'm seeing is like they miss your like innocent, like sweet nature and the way that you provided like hope in a storm. So I think that, you know, life may feel very challenging to them at times, or they may feel challenging to themselves. Like, what's interesting is like, I feel like this person kind of feels like they are toxic, but I don't think that they necessarily are, which is strange. And I think that one thing that they miss about you is the way that you reminded them that life can be innocent and free, and there can be like a childlike joy. I think you reminded them about like having awe and wonder again, and like hope and optimism and like lightness. Like your energy feels very light, but also like childlike in a way, and not childish or immature, but like in the sense that like you still have like an innocent way of like feeling and seeing things in the world, even as an adult. Even as you get older, even as life changes, there's a part of you that is always like your child self, which is really beautiful and special and somewhat uncommon. And I think that like they really miss being around that energy, because a lot of people are very heavy and they may be around heaviness again now that you're not around. And perhaps they wish they had appreciated it more when they had it. And I think that like your perspective and the way that you would see things in this sort of childlike way in some manner was something that they didn't appreciate enough until it was gone. I wonder if there were these really like defined moments in knowing this person where like, I don't know, sort of what I'm seeing is like there were certain things that either strengthened or changed the relationship. Like they can point to very specific moments where they either did or didn't appreciate you, or something happened. There seems to be like, for some reason, specifics, instead of like, they don't see it necessarily as like this flow all the time. They see like moments, very specific moments where things were sort of cemented in some way in this relationship. But there's also like a highlight reel that sort of plays in their mind. And they have these moments of remembering your laugh or your smile, or the way that like your eyes crinkled, or the glint in your eye, or like the way you lit up when you saw something. Like maybe you love to like smell a flower, or like you would see these little things that not everyone pays attention to, and you'd be like, look, it's something like that. Your way of like being and seeing in the world plays like a highlight reel for them, and they miss your laugh. They miss the way your face looked and the expressions that you made, and like the way you would light up. And I think that they definitely miss the ways in which they would light you up, but more than that, just the ways like life would light you up, like the little things. And they feel blessed to have been in that energy, and they miss it now. You feel like a light in the dark to them. And so I wonder if life does feel a little bit darker. It definitely feels heavier now. I think that they feel like weighed down by life and responsibility, and maybe other people and other people's problems. And I think that they didn't feel good enough for you. I'm definitely feeling that. Like they saw you as like maybe too good for anybody, and especially too good for them. And I wonder if they had some insecurity around that and wondered why you were spending time with them. And again, felt like they were not good enough, or like not innocent or pure enough for you. And so while they miss these things about you, I think that they never really felt worthy of what you offered them, even if they were, because maybe the way that their life has been, they saw themselves as like, and it's not like even the normal not good enough. For some reason, they see themselves as like bad. And I don't know. And I don't think that they are. Like, I think that they definitely make mistakes, and sometimes they do things from like a shadowy place. And like, they're certainly not as like pure hearted as you are, but I don't think most people are. But I think they see themselves as much worse and more like damaged than they actually are. And so I wonder if they ruined things with you because of that, or because they thought like, well, it's going to happen. Like, I'm going to do this like thing to mess it up because it was going to happen anyway. But I think sometimes they wonder like why you even gave them a chance, because they see you as so up here and they're down here and they're like, what? Why did they give me a chance? Like, I didn't deserve that. So it's like maybe they messed it up because of that, or like they always kind of felt like it was going to end. Like they were like, well, we were, you're this fish and they're this person. And it's like, you live in the water and they live on land and it was never going to work anyway. And so while they really, really miss you, I think that they always expected this. And so they are kind of like unsurprised by it, even if they're devastated, even if they're disappointed, even if you're disappointed in them. It's just like, why would this like, perfectly dressed, like sweet girl with a picnic who loves flowers, like hang out with this like wolf that's like in the background, like, being like sneaky. And I don't know. It's just like, they feel like they're the wolf and you're this child in the way. And I think that if this was romantic, they saw you as like their ideal. And even if they didn't know what their ideal was before, and maybe they have had all these other people who were like great in all these different ways and they appreciated all these people. It's like, you're in this boat with them and they were like trying to get to this castle, but it's like, then they get to the castle and they get on shore, but you can't get on shore because like the castle isn't like for you. So what I'm trying to say with that is like, they saw you as like extra special and like someone to continue with, but like, then they realized they can't bring you into their life as it is, or like they're unworthy of you. And so there's a separation there that won't allow you to be together. I think this person might be kind of depressed. Like even when you knew them, I think they've always been a little bit depressed or a little bit anxious. They may distract themselves with relationships or with other things. It's possible you never saw it going anywhere either. I don't know. I mean, I think that they did see it going somewhere, but they always in the back of their mind were like, it can't, it won't, like, I'm not good enough. But I wonder if you also didn't necessarily take it super seriously, or in the beginning, you definitely didn't. Like, you were like, not that they weren't good enough, but you were like, this isn't necessarily right. But over time, you may have taken it more seriously. But they do miss the way that you made them feel, the way that you opened them up and opened up their energy and reminded them that there is like another way of life. Because if this person is depressed and like has dark thoughts and are in their head and like you were so much lighter, it like opened up the world to them again. And like, I wonder if they never really had much of a childhood, or like, if they've just been heavy for so long that they forgot what it was like. And you opened things back up for them and made the world more beautiful again. But I think that when they were with you, they were able to open up a little bit. But when you weren't right next to them or talking to them, like it went back to darkness. So they weren't able to keep those feelings lasting, because it's sort of like they couldn't do it for themselves, but they could feel it when they were around you. And so it was always going to be a struggle, because they would continue to go back to how things were. And it's up to them basically to do whatever needs to be done, whatever work they need to do in order to get to a different perspective and a different place. And as much as you may have tried to help them get there, or like as wonderful as you are, it wasn't going to be enough. And not that you're not enough, not at all, because you certainly are, but it's like they need to do something themselves. And I think that they were either distracting themselves with you or relying on you for those feelings instead of like finding them within themselves or even facing the darkness head on. Does that make sense? So it was probably always going to happen this way, not only because they sort of expected it to, or you expected it to, or both of you, but because they have something within them that needs to be faced in order to lighten it up enough to move forward with you or to know you. And no matter how much like you both may have wanted it, or like you tried, there's just something that's different there with them that needs to be faced and doesn't have anything to do with you. And certainly you wouldn't want it to drag you down, and neither would they. And I think that they kind of went back again after you left, with this 8 of Cups, you had to go, and maybe you did it in a really loving way, or like the end of it was mutual or something. It was like, okay, well, you can't be in the darkness. You have to be in the light. And so they miss before this. They miss when like there was still like potential and possibility, and they could like live in your innocence a little bit. But also with this wheel, it feels like, they may try to find your qualities in someone else, or they may have tried to find like a savior in people they dated or got close to or something. And they've been like looking and looking and looking and trying and trying and trying. And like, this might not even be people. It could be other things that they are doing. But even when people look different, or their personalities are different, or whatever they're trying is different each time, the result continues to be the same, because they're looking outside of themselves for what is within. And they're afraid to look within because they think it's just this. And there's actually an innocence within them too, within all of us. And if they were to, climb these steps and go in and like face it, even though it's scary and it feels like it's falling and like it's all alone and dark and all this stuff, like they would find the light, and then they would find their own innocence and their own value and worth. And then they wouldn't need to like use things or use people or like find distractions, so I think some of what this is, when we look at what they're missing about you, is actually like, sometimes they focus on what they miss about you instead of facing themselves. Because it's easier to like feel sad or feel like they did something wrong, because I think that they feel like they messed stuff up a lot. And so then they feel like they're at fault for things, and they beat themselves up for that. But, so they do that basically instead of like doing the work that would be necessary for them to get to where they actually want to be. And then if they actually got to that place, like they wouldn't need to use anyone for it. They could just enjoy the innocence of those good things in life by themselves and with you and with other people, like whether or not you're ever going to know them again. So they miss a lot about you, and you made a huge impact, and like they think about you a lot, and you have this really beautiful energy that I just love. They are distracting themselves with you even still. What do they regret, if anything? And I think we already, talked a little bit about that. But let's see. Queen of Cups. 5 of Swords. Redemption, which is Judgment. I think that they regret not being able to have a lighter spirit, and not being able to be lighter. I think that they regret like bringing their own heaviness into relationships with other people, but especially with you, and not being able to just lighten up. Yeah, they regret some of these things we talked about, where they like kind of expected other people to fill this void for them. And while it feels like a void to them, it's really just like heaviness and like muck that they need to face and work through. And then they'll feel the light. And then that will, of course, fill that feeling that is a void. But they regret basically asking people to fill this void for them. And I don't think that they literally ask. I think that it's just like they date, or they find people to get close to, or they use people or things as distractions to feel love and light and things like that, instead of finding it within themselves. And I think so many people struggle with this, but there's a lot of regret for them around this, because I think that they know that like light is like really close, and that somehow like subconsciously they understand what's going on, but consciously they're still like living from the heaviness of maybe their depression. And so they have some regrets around like feeling like they are sort of using people. And I don't think it's like, it really comes down to like they're using people. I don't think that's really what's happening, but they are distracting themselves with people. And like, also like kind of who isn't sometimes, like everybody is sometimes to some degree. Right. But like, I just think that they are so hard on themselves. And so they are hard on themselves for like things that they do legitimately do, but also like things that everybody does, or they're hard on themselves because that's what they've learned. Like they just, I think that this is like a genuinely like good person who makes mistakes and who is like being carried along by like the heaviness inside them. And then a lot of things would change for them if they could face that. And so I think they just like, they have regrets around the way that they are. Again, they like regret not being like good enough to you or for you. And like, they feel like they've maybe wasted your time or your energy or your light. They just like, they regret not being able to match you. And for some reason, like there's a red panda right here and it's making me think like, you're a panda and they're a red panda or something. And like, they're trying to be like you, but they're just not quite like, you know, yeah, it's not like a red panda's trying to be a giant panda, you know, but like they're both pandas, but they're a lot different, aren't they? So I think that it's like, they were really trying to like meet you where you were or like at your level or something. And like, it just never was quite right. And they just have regrets around that because they really wish that they could be at your level or be the same as you. And they feel like it's a personal failing that they're not. And it's not that. And with the Five of Swords, they definitely regret any fights that you may have had. I don't know that you fought a lot. But if you did, or there were disagreements or like they perceived things that way, they have regrets around that. For some reason, I think that they have regrets around like not sharing enough with you, about what was going on internally or their true feelings or thoughts about this, because I think that like they were so scared of like you judging them or seeing them differently or like seeing them for like the truth of them. Like they're so afraid of being seen as bad that I think it made them look worse to sort of keep so much inside. And maybe they did share some of this insecurity with you, but there's regret around all of this. Yeah, it's like even the things that they haven't been able to figure out how to change, but they're just like aware of. Like I think they may be aware of this feeling of unworthiness and undeservedness and darkness and depression and all these things. Like I think that this person is like pretty self-aware and like these things are like available to them consciously, and yet they don't know how to like fix it or change it. And so they just feel like guilty and remorseful and regretful. And like, they feel like they've weighed other people down. Like it feels like, you know, you would be like flying if not for them. And you're just starting to get back out of the water. It's like, they feel like they drag other people down. And so they just have regret around the way that they feel like they're affecting people, whether or not that's true. I think that even though they have some self-awareness, they're not fully aware, because I think that people actually really love a lot of things about them and appreciate things about them, but they're so down on themselves. And I think that can actually be one of the things that like makes people like want to pull away sometimes, is the way that they are so down on themselves, or like their depression, like, or whatever it is, like basically leads the show. Let's see what haunts them. What haunts them and what will they always remember about you? Justice. Two of Cups. Six of Pentacles. Oh, their energy is a bit heavy and sticky. And not in a way where like, again, I don't feel like this person is like toxic. But it's more like their energy is like stuck. It's like stuck to me, and it's like kind of sludgy and slow moving. And like, I do think it's depression or something like that. But it's not very comfortable to be in. And so I imagine that their experience of life currently and for a long time has not been a very comfortable one. It's like they're always carrying around a whole bunch of heavy backpacks, and they don't know how to put them down, and they feel like they need them or something, or like it's kind of heavy. So when we look, I just wanted to mention that, but when we look at what haunts them and what they will always remember, again, we get this like innocent quality that you have, this pleasant quality that you have. they're always going to remember that aspect of you the most. And if you never talk to them again, like that is what they will think about when they think about you. But I think that even though they may have thought that they made mistakes and they messed this up, I think that I don't think that they did anything terrible, but I think that like what haunts them is this inability to have been free with you too, and to have just like opened up to like possibility and beauty and wonder and like all of the cool, good, light things. And like, I wonder if sometimes like that was hard for you too, because it was like, why can't we just like have fun and laugh? And like, sometimes they could, but I think that like, maybe the more you knew them, the more that you saw the heaviness or you felt it. And, that sort of haunts them, because even if that's not true for you, it's what they feel happened, is like that they dragged you down, and that like, you could have accomplished so much more or like enjoyed life more if it weren't for them during this time. They just are so down on themselves. And so what bothers them isn't so much that like they did something horrible to you and they have this huge regret for it. It's just like, it's all about their heaviness. It's all about this depression quality, this like thing that feels heavy inside and holds them back and holds them away from their true selves and from the light. And so what haunts them is this, that just, it is their ghost. This, like, we're going to call it depression. This is their ghost. It follows them around. They carry it with them. They haven't yet found out how to get away from it. And I think that they will resolve it and get through it. But it's like, it feels twisted up inside of them. It feels like a knot. It feels like it's just always with them. And, it feels like a part of them. And I don't know if I think they identify with it. And so, part of the issue is like, they don't know who they are without this, And so, I think that really, that is what holds them back and what bothers them. But with that said, they do think about you and they do miss you and all of this light that you have. And I think that they also want to have that light within themselves, like to be light with you and other people, but with themselves too. And so they're always going to remember this like sweet, wonderful quality that you have that just made them feel like loved or cared for or seen or protected, and like getting to be like innocent with you in some way, even if it was just temporarily. And like feeling like even for moments they were like worthy of that special attention from you, or like they just see you as like so loving and so giving because you gave them any of that kind of attention, because you like deigned them worthy enough for even a moment in your energy. Because I feel like I see them as like this, they're this horse, they're this deer, like they feel like in some way they're like a wild animal, but you saw them as like worthy of like attention and care and love and interest. And that's what they will remember, is like your ability to see the good in them, or to allow them to be in your energy for a little while. I feel like I keep being repetitive because there's not a lot here. It's not very complicated. I don't know what happened between you and if that felt complicated, but now it doesn't feel complicated. It feels like they're dragging things around. They see you the way that I've described. They see themselves as the way that I've described. They see you as being so different and them feeling kind of unworthy, but like, there's not much else here. There's not much else to say necessarily, but let's see what they hope for between you. 4 of Wands, transformation, Princess of Pentacles. And as we know from you choosing this card, it is the Death card, but I do think that it is more about transformation, not only because it says it, but just the vibe of the card. So like, this person doesn't like hope that this is over. They hope that it can be transformed into something else and that they can be transformed into something else. And again, I'm not saying that you're a woman and they're a man, could be, but if this is you and this is them, they again see themselves as this like beast, this like wild being, and like you're this sweet, innocent person willing to spend time on them. But what they're hoping for is that they will be able to have a mindset shift where they will see you as both equal, as both like people with the same amount of potential and light, and that they will be able to let go of this image of themselves, and that you in turn will also let go of this image of them and see them the way they hope to see themselves. And so too, with this Four of Wands, it's like they hope to make this journey as hard or easy as it may be to, this is probably like Jack and the Beanstalk, right? I don't remember what happens in that. Like, does he get like magic beans at the top? Anyway, it feels like this person wants to make their journey to, reach this place of like understanding, of like seeing things with a clearer perspective, finding things along the way that help this person understand, finding magic at the top that will like transform this person. And I think that they feel like this is you, like the princess and the pea. There's all these mattresses here, but like she's uncomfortable because there's a pea at the bottom and she can feel it. And they think that like basically they are that pea. So it's like everything would be perfect if they weren't in your life. And so what they're hoping for is that if they can transform and become something else, they will no longer be like a pain in your back. They will no longer be something that stresses you out, whether or not that was the case. They feel it was the case and they want to add to your life. And they also feel like you're all the way up here and they're all the way down here. And so they want to climb up to be at your level and to be able to see things clearly, to be at your level and to be able to match you. I think, if this person, it doesn't matter who this person was. They want to be back in your life at some point, but they know that they have to take a journey to get there, and they do want to take that journey. And I think part of it is like the strength to do it, but also finding like the tools or the people to help them or the knowledge they need to take this journey. And they hope that you might be open to them at that point. And I think that truthfully, like if they are willing to take this journey, I'm feeling their energy lighten up like is such an incredible amount. And while it is, it becomes as light as your energy, it's a different kind of light. And if they reach that place and you don't want them back in your life, or it doesn't make sense to be, or whatever, they're going to be okay and you're going to be okay. Like either way, I see you both feeling like very pleased with life and just like enjoying life as it is. And like the energy between you, if there is any heaviness remaining, that will lighten up as well. And there's a lot of stability here. So things are going to become very stable for both of you, maybe you together, maybe you separately, but for whatever may be going on in either one of your lives that feels like up in the air or stressful or hard or whatever, stability is on the way. And I think that if you do come back together, which I do see as a possibility for a lot of you, there will be a much more stable and equal energy where there is lightness on both sides, understanding on both sides, like less like self-blame and less like making dumb mistakes and like it just making more sense. Because I really see this person as like a good person, and you obviously are a wonderful person. Like your energy is so lovely, and this person has the potential to also reach a similar kind of energy. And then if it makes sense for you to be in one another's lives, even if it's not like it was, then I think it's going to be a lot more enjoyable for both of you. But it's very possible that you don't want that and you don't care about that. And like, that's fine. You can do whatever you want and just continue to follow your joy. And I think that's all. Like, I really don't see anything else. So I am going to close this one out. So group 4, thank you so much for being here. Feel free to choose another group if there is someone else you want to check on. And if you found this reading helpful, please like the video. I'd love to hear from you if you feel like leaving a comment. And otherwise, I will see you soon, hopefully. Okay, bye.